Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's something that I think many people would wonder, because now that you have brought into this topic, I must clarify on this that who's this guy who's an automotive guy is now talking about agri. Well, I will cover to some extent this clarification in my talk. So let me start immediately so that we don't have any lack of time. I will share my presentation.
Please.
Yeah. So, can you see the slides, please?
Yes.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Manoj, and I come from a company called Autosolidus Technology Solutions Private Limited. We established this company almost about 4 years back, and probably you'll see the punchline out there, which talks about our North Star vision of bringing IT to grassroots. Now, probably here I can explain why Mercedes-Benz guy is sitting and doing agri here. So yeah, me and my partner, we are hardcore IT people, hardcore engineering people, coming from various backgrounds. I have almost now 40 years of experience in multiple things. And in the end, towards last 20 years of my career, I was doing a lot of IT. And then I also have Shachi, who is thoroughbred IT person at IBM and then joined Mercedes-Benz. Now she's partner here in this company. So she is also a thorough IT person. And when we realized that, having done a lot of work for a company like Mercedes-Benz, which doesn't, compromise on quality, we realized that there are many ways we can actually be the best and still be affordable. Yeah. So we thought, okay, maybe we should now work towards bringing this IT, which seems to be a little bit, expensive sometimes a little bit difficult for those who are really at the grassroots level of society. We're not just, when we say grassroots, doesn't mean always agri. So with grassroots of the society or grassroots of the value chain means it could be a vendor who's selling the distillery water from one place to another and so on, or it could be anybody who is trying to set up a small little food service and so on. And so we want to set up something like an Amazon for them and so on. So this is how we brought in this IT to the strata, which is still struggling with either too much of IT or high cost of IT or too much complexity on IT. So this is how we actually came into agriculture. We also, at least I come from agriculture family. My wife had been working in the agriculture and she was part of the Indian Institute of Horticulture Research for a long time. So agri is not new to us, right? And also we knew what are the issues and what are the challenges and so on. So we said, okay, bringing IT and agri together would probably be something which we would look for and see if we can really be participating in building the nation bottoms up. So I think that's what clarifies how we are into this where we are. I will just quickly talk about my topic, which is sustainability of precision agriculture. Let me also clarify sustainability. When we talk about, it's really not exactly what Dr. Basu talked about in terms of ecological and economical sustainability and so on. I'm talking about the sustainability of the precision agriculture itself. Right? How complex it is. Where are the challenges in bringing precision agriculture to the ultimate beneficiary, which we have envisaged, right? So this sustainability and the sustainability which Dr. Girinar was talking about are a little bit different, yeah. So how do we want to check this up? This is my content. Very quickly, my objectives, what is the technology that is involved, what is my role and my view into this, yeah, how much do I know about it, and from which part I'm entering in this game, yeah, and how this whole thing is different from what Dr. Basu just talked about from Agri 3.0 to Agri 4.0. Yeah, Agri 4.0 is a different ball game altogether. How this innovations, and we also talked about the resistance and so on, how this all challenges the innovations and how the innovations becomes adaptable and acceptable over the time. and other operational challenges, and then we will open this the floor for some discussions, because I am really bringing problems here. I am only bringing things which bog my mind many times, saying that okay, yeah, all that is fine, and IT is fine, but somewhere something is not working. And today I'm taking side, or I'm playing the role of a devil's advocate and say, okay, guys, does it really work? Yeah, and where it doesn't work, and if it doesn't work, if we know where it's not working, probably that would be the first step in solving how we can make it work. Yeah, and then some points to ponder before we start discussing all things. So my objective today, as I said, is to look at the downside of precision agriculture, where the weaknesses are, where the challenges are. Yeah, and not only from my point of view or your point of view, or from everybody's point of view. We talked about multiple stakeholders, right? Users, service providers, researchers, farmers, everybody. So from everybody's point of view, where the issues are, and how do we want to bring some value in by ideas, bringing some ideas together, right? Now, if somebody thought that digital agriculture or precision agriculture or whatever we call it is simple topic, sorry, this picture basically shows you, yeah, it is really not that. Yeah, the more you read about it, the more you dwell into this topic, the more you do research, you realize that there are many things connected. Yesterday also in FinTech Talk, we did talk about there are multiple islands of automation there. They should be talking together. Now, which are those? Yeah, and you can see there, we started long back when precision agriculture with GPS in it and GIS in it for mapping and geographical information systems, variable rate technologies, and so on. And that was some time back, but slowly pieces got added to it. Yeah, weather monitoring and the inputs from there, remote sensing and inputs from there, right? And then came suddenly this whole the IT part of it, yeah, IoT, which we call ICT. Essentially, it's nothing but IoT and field devices, sensors, actuators, and whatnot, communication systems, yeah, wired communication, Wi-Fi communication, whatnot, and then the information technology itself, the cloud computing and what. And on top of all this, now we are bringing intelligence, right? So we automated and now we brought in data, yeah, data, AI, ML, and whatnot, right? So all this put together, if you see, yeah, is one part. And then comes e-commerce, and then fintech probably also will join slowly over time. So you see, and then this is first layer. You go into deeper of it, then it's more and more complex. So what I'm trying to emphasize here is that if we thought if there's one person who could solve it, probably not. If one company can solve it, I don't even think so. So this is something which needs it's a very heavily multidisciplinary topic that we are talking about, right? So this is something which is also bringing its own challenge in terms of how do we solve this, and if then where are the problems and where are the complexities. Coming to next slide. Yeah, and on top of that, also another thing I forgot, that all these things, you see, all these automation islands have to also start talking to each other, right? There would be lines drawn from one to another to another, and then it will be a very complex picture which has to be managed. This cannot be managed unless we have standard communication, unless we have standards about how do we store the data, unless we have standards of how do we interface with each of these. So all this put together is actually the bigger part. And I am particularly coming from the left side, where you can see the ICT domain. This is my domain, right? I mean, I understand definitely a lot of it here, but on the right hand side, as a company, Autosolus, or as a person who has had a lot of IT experience, but very little agri knowledge, I don't have much control on, right? I really look forward to be working with companies like Creagen and government agencies like Indian Institute of Horticultural Research, ICR, and we are already doing a lot of work in that area. So my view and my role, as I said, as a company, is purely on the ICT side, information technologies, communication technologies, right? All this. So for me, it's important to scout and evaluate the research relevant topics, relevant technologies, which I can bring together on the IT platform, so that the farmers are usually benefited from that. Provide digital platform to build and run meaningful solutions on top of that. Develop and support IT solutions, because it's not just development, it has to be supported. Somebody has to continuously support the users, tech support, user support, and so on, authorizations and whatnot. And also, very important is continuously engage with the beneficiaries, yeah, the farmers. We have to get the voice of customers all the time, getting from them, and also the partners, be it academics, be it institutes, be it e-commerce operators, to understand, what are the challenges, what are the solutions and problems that they have. Because see, we are actually, I think that as Autosolus company, or as somebody who's in IT, we are part of the solution. Yeah, we are here to give the solutions. We know how to really resolve, how to bring the data in, how to connect multiple pieces, but we really not know exactly the problem. We know only very superficial. Yes, unless we engage with those who are experts into this area, and this would be a view of any IT company which actually comes forward to work in this area. Yeah, there would be a limited knowledge on agri part of it. ICT, we can handle. Yeah, but when it comes to agriculture knowledge and the subject matter, we are a little bit short there, and we look forward for engagements and partnerships out there. Now, as I'm just mentioning, right, and also Dr. Basu just mentioned that we moved from multiple Agri 1.0 to 2.0, and now lately we've seen some time back mechanization of agriculture, which was 3.0. And now also we have digital agriculture now coming into picture, right? There is a clear difference, and let's understand this, what the difference is, because this is where probably some kind of a solution emerge. You see, the mechanization of agriculture, which was agriculture 3.0, where what happened, it was slow and steady, right? It's very logically connected to each other. It was sequential. Yeah, the farmers had to only upgrade their skills. Yeah, it was also flexible. Wherever you want to stop, you can stop. Yeah, wherever you say, okay, this is my limit. I don't want to go beyond that. Yeah, and then people could make individual choices. Yeah, there you can say, okay, I don't want to go all the way up to harvesters. I will stop at the advanced, how powerful, what do you call it, powerful tractors and so on. And it was all driven by OEMs. Yeah, there were some manufacturer like Tafe and tractor manufacturers who were driving it, and it was being driven very well because only the equipment has to be given out. But then digitalization in agriculture basically is asking for something much more. Yeah, of course the growth path is very, very steep. It's almost exponential. Really get from one technology to another and to another, and the sky is the limit. But it is not easy to scale. Yeah, you fall many times. You're not able to understand. Keep the pace with it. Technology is changing like almost daily basis, right? And when technology changes, you get lost sometimes. Whatever you purchased, procured, or developed, suddenly it's obsolete. It's something new has come in, yeah? And then you run helter-skelter looking for something new. So thing is that if you leave components and pieces to the users, they're absolutely out of their wits how to handle it, right? And also because this is highly knowledge oriented. Yeah, farmers, you have to provide them something. You cannot really offer them directly these solutions, because the knowledge upgradation, which was just skill based at one point of time, in digital and the 4.0, it is all knowledge based. So slowly, if you see all this, yeah, there are standards required here. Yeah, there's no single source, as we just talked about. No single company, no single agency can handle it. Yeah, there have to be multiple people coming together. So the digitalization is a completely different ballgame. Yeah, and we have to understand this before we actually move on to do something of this direction. Now, coming to next one. Also, please look at whenever we talk about new ideas coming in and how do we handle these new ideas, we also have to look at what are the challenges, right? Now, whenever you have an innovation, yeah, people tend to explore into it and then try to see what is happening, what it requires, and how do I learn it. Then they go and evaluate it. What is the effort in it? What is the cost in it? And so on. And then slowly they adapt it, and then slowly acceptance happens over the time. And then this accepted solutions becomes new normal. And then moment it becomes new normal, people already start feeling saying that no, maybe even something better exists, or there's some new solutions. So this is a typical innovation to adoption cycle. But if you look at those areas which influence it, right? At the time of exploration itself, there are natural resistances. We talked about it, resistance. We talked about understanding issues. We talked about apprehensions. We talked about what is the risk perception, risk appetite of people, right? So all this is pretty complex. If somebody sits down and tries to understand, I just want to bring this from the point of view of a farmer who, as you can see, is kind of ready to handle technology. He already uses a mobile, already uses. So I think we are at the juncture where our beneficiaries are ready to join the mainstream of technology explosion. But they still need some support, and they have some issues also. Yeah, farmers have natural resistance. We've heard this several times before. They can't take too much of risk. Yeah, in terms of evaluation, the cost is pretty enormous for them to do any experimentation, right? They also have to have some business case to adopt it. The return of investment doesn't seem to be good because the farmers are 3-acre, 4-acre farmers, right? Similarly, if the rate of adoption, and this is something which we also talked about yesterday, right? The tail part of what Venki was talking about, the entire scenario, the adoption rate is very slow. Yeah, and here we are not talking about you buy something, you like it, and then in 2 weeks you are a big appreciator of the technology. No, here adoption cycle and the life cycle of your experimentation itself is long. Yeah, the entire crop cycle. So the adoption cycle is also very slow, and if the adoption cycle is slow, acceptance cycle will be even slower. And yeah, so this is another big challenge, that if you try to bring something in, it will take years before you can really get it accepted, right? So these are the issues which are also bothering implementation of precision agriculture in our society. Then we also have other operational pain points, yeah, because you see this average size of the farmer, we talked about it, is roughly about 3 acres or 4 acres maybe, and the precision farming knowledge is very intensive. People really get threatened by that. The very limited resources that are available for scientific and technical mentorship. Yeah, who has the time, and how many of us we are there on the field to help the farmers? Not everybody is as fortunate as Dr. Mittur, who is actually almost on a daily basis mentoring his village people. But we need something like that. We need some people who really take up this mentoring very actively. And then India still does not have stable, reliable connectivity in the rural areas. I mean, if you talk about precision agriculture, you need at least, if not almost on a real-time basis, connectivity, but you should have a connectivity which at least 10 times a day can update the data, right? I mean, here we are talking about villages which do not have power for 3 days altogether. Yeah, so not that I'm just trying to paint a very grim picture, but these are the realities, right? The components of the technology is pretty expensive. Yeah, interoperability, this is another area, right? Now everybody is like, this is my solution and I want to hide it, and I yeah, probably this is a differentiator for me. So there is at this moment a lot of secrecy involved into whatever you do, and then how do we bring things together, because interoperability is extremely important when we look at what we talked about in fintech talk yesterday, that we have to connect all these points of truth together before fintech can actually address the real picture. Yeah. And so this is with the partners of ecosystem, I mean, badly needed for successful coordination. This is probably one of those very, very important things that I always felt, that collaboration and collaboration and collaboration. This is how it's going to work on the long run, right? And slow learning and adaptation curve, as I said, and this is big, huge issue. And I personally, as the startup company, face that, because the learning curve is slow and adaptation curve is slow. For us, doing any product, and start earning revenue to sustain ourselves runs to 3-4 years, and which startup can actually handle this? Yeah. So these are all the challenges that we are facing continuously. right? So before we actually start getting a little bit deeper into what are the solutions and what are the possible ideas that we can bring to the table, I just want to kind of sensitize you to some of the data that we've actually been talking some time back also, that farming contributes about 18% of GDP, 73% people live in Bangalore, out of which 70% are of the rural families depend on agriculture. That basically would mean 70 to 73, about 50% of the workforce is involved into agriculture. Yeah, we're talking about 50% of workforce in which is doing agriculture and only bringing 18% of GDP. Right, so there is a gap, and this gap can be filled up. Right, 86% of farmers belong to the small and marginal farmers. So that's essentially what it means is that if we are developing something phenomenal, extraordinary, I don't know how many farmers, only 14% possibly can afford it. Right, so this is a negative red point that I just also brought in. India has 17% population of the world, and India's agriculture production efficiency is only 50% at this moment as compared to US and China. So we really need to do a lot of work out there. Also, of course, this is good that, over the time in the last 5, 6, 7, 10 years, the literacy rate has gone up in the rural India, which is a very good news. And also in terms of utilization of internet, yeah, we are second after China. So as I said, farmers are ready to accept the technology. They are almost, hands open to accept anything that comes to them, as long as it's affordable for them. Right, and then we said that by 2050, as we also mentioned, that 10 billion people will be there. That means 56% more food we have to. So we have to do something very urgently. We don't have all the years for us. We need to do something about it quickly. Yeah. And then if you think that,
collectively, if you can just sum it up in 1 minute,
just
we can open for a lot of discussion, please.
Thank you. Sure. So there are about, and so that we are not just alone. Good thing is that there are about roughly about 700-800 agri startups in India, I'm sure. But I'm yet to see if there is something really great coming in. But hopefully, all the efforts of all these people will start bearing the fruit sooner. Yeah. Question is, I mean, having talked about so much about this is not possible, that's not possible, this is not working, that's not working, do we have a choice that we can say no to PA? No, sorry. This is not the case, yeah. We have to find a way to make precision farming work, probably differently, yeah. And here I remember what one of those great thinkers and guys say that, the winners don't do different things, they do things differently. So we'll have to find a way to do things in a different manner, right? So here we are, seeking your ideas. I would open the stage to accept some ideas, some comments, and I will make note of it and then possibly put together and bring it to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Manoj. Again, excellent insights into what digitization, mechanizations can do. What is the difference between the two? How India is moving from a sort of a mechanization environment to digitization environment, and talking about the strengths we have, but how do we take it to the area where it actually means something. So the whole idea of agriculture is application, and application can only happen via convergence of people drawn from different sectors with their expertise. And I'm so pleased, and it's very heartening to see someone like you, like Professor Jaiwan Arakeri yesterday, who's also an IASC product and continues to be there in IASC. He had a very good opening talk yesterday. He's a mechanical engineer, and you are an aeronautic engineer working in Benz and all that. So now you welcome to agriculture. Please help us out. So, we need to define the problems. That's our problem. And people like Dr. Girinawar and many of his team members are very good in defining those problems, and we look forward to your solutions. And working in, working for aircrafts, high-tech aircrafts and high-tech Benz cars, you would have been involved in developing lots and lots and lots of sensors to prevent accidents, to prevent so many things. And now your expertise of the engineers like you would be so much in developing sensors. And that's what, when Dr. Basuraj Girinawar says, let's democratize that sort of a system in agriculture also. So I think we're on the right track. So now I would like to open up for discussion. And so far I have not seen any questions yet, but there are many other thinkers in the group, and maybe they could start asking a question or two.
Before we get into discussion, I just wanted to say that I have one more slide where I have brought in some solutions, but I don't want to project it now. In the end, I will projected, saying that, okay, right, there are some solutions that I can possibly bring to the table.
All right, all right. So one question that comes to my mind is in application in a multi-language, multi complex diversity nation like India is a huge problem, or a challenge, if not a problem, as opposed to, let's say, a smaller country like New Zealand, or even a bigger country like Australia, where there is pretty much one language, one type of rules and that sort of thing. And how do you, I mean, this goes to some of the questions that we were discussing in the earlier session as well. So how do you see that, in terms of taking technology to where it matters a lot? How should the communication be? We should use some local champions and get them understand what you're trying to do and that sort of thing?
Yeah, sure. I mean, see, natural language processing, and this is really not a rocket science today. As you can see here, you use your Chrome or any Internet Explorer. It offers you all the language. So language is not an issue. It is just the knowledge that we have to translate, and you cannot just use a pure Google Translator to translate from one to another. Yes, of course, we will have to use experts when we transfer knowledge from one language to another language, and this too as precise as the agricultural knowledge. But implementing that communication would not be a problem. IT will handle it very easily. It's only whenever we have to really bring in or add a new language, we'll have to work with some of those local language experts to translate the facts into that language in the right terminology.
Okay, I'd like to invite, if he doesn't mind, Professor Jayawant Arakeri, because he's been keenly listening to this talk and how he connects this to what he was trying to say yesterday. And are we all coming together? Is there other gaps that you see, sir, and see what is that we can do together?
Yeah, I'm learning a lot here and meeting new people. So it's been a good, excuse me, good learning experience for me. And I was happy to see Manoj. In fact, I also am an alumnus of aerospace engineering, ISC, even though I'm in mechanical now.
Nice to see you, sir.
And when did you pass out, by the way?
87, I did my master's.
I joined in 88, so anyway, but one thing which is missing is we need to find avenues for collaboration between different scientists, like agricultural scientists, or like what you're mentioning. Finally, the specialized knowledge is important. And when you want to build a sensor, for example, we need to know what we want to sense and how to sense it. And the other point I want to make is we should create some environment where we can productize our ideas. So a lot of my younger colleagues want to get into agriculture, but there is very little research money in this for some reason. Even though everyone talks about agriculture, there's hardly any research money which we can get, for example, in ISC. Most of it goes to ICR labs. And so that is one thing which is missing in India, and to increase the collaboration between engineers and agricultural scientists. And I think industry can help a great deal by posing the problems which need to be solved.
Right.
What Dr. Baswaraj was saying, they are doing this drone application. So I'm sure there are a lot of small problems which need to be looked at. So the collaboration would help there, I think.
Right.
So Dr. Arakeri, I think yesterday also you were stressing on this about collaboration, bringing people from diverse fields into one forum and discuss the problems and find solutions. Right. And you mentioned, the Bangalore Cluster. So we want to know more about it. If there is anything that you think that we must contact, or you can put in a good word for us to, I don't know if it is a sort of a exclusive membership or anyone can bring in members.
In fact, we want to increase the membership. So we are in touch with all the academic institutes and the R&D labs, but we need more people who are into high tech in agriculture. So that's what we're looking for. And so the activity just started. So, but we will let you know what all is required. So one thing which we require is some sort of projects which we can work on, something which is important. if someone can decide a few, like 3, 4 projects and get together people and try to get some funding and start working on
All
the
right.
problem solving.
All right. I would like to request organizers to take this as a very important point for us to follow up, please. Before I ask another person to make a comment, there is one announcement I have to make, which I keep missing. So the organizers have mentioned to me to please announce that YouTube coverage is simultaneously going on. The recording of yesterday's entire session is available on the YouTube, and they will be getting a link from the registrants. To those who have registered to attend this conference, they will be getting that link. So please, you can always go back to that link and then click and then find out in case you miss something or you want to put something out. That will be your opportunity. I see I see Mr. Narasimha Nakshatri from BCIC, Bangalore Chamber of Industry and Commerce. He is an active member of BCIC. He's been there for quite some time, and he is one of the key persons for the special agro food processing committee that I'm also a member of. Jagdish Sunkar is a member of. Mr. Nakshatri, would you have a comment to make from what you've heard and see what can be done? Please unmute yourself. Please unmute. Sir, you have to unmute. Mr. Nakshatri, you have to unmute. Can you please unmute?
Jagdish sir, can you spell out his name? I will make him as a host.
Narasimha Nakshatri. Narasimha Nakshatri.
He shows up as JSON assist, right?
His name is there.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Good.
So
Yeah. Thank you.
Ahead,
thank you so
ahead,
much.
sir.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Jagdish. And it is a very interesting subject today. And we also, I think, along with Jagdish, and we conduct a lot of webinars in the agro and food processing expert committee in the Bangalore Chamber of Industry and Commerce. Yesterday, I missed the event because I was traveling, and in some other function I was there. I was not able to participate today. In fact, it is a good session. Dr. Baswaraj, the Cryogen, I think he has done a good presentation. It was good. And precision farming is concerned, Mr. Manoj, I think it is a very interesting subject. I think we are talking about this precision farming since long. I think when I started, I remember the Cephal market, when I started from the National Dairy Development Board in Bangalore. I think I was heading that entire project of the farming and the farmer associations of fruit and vegetables. That time itself, we were talking about that. I think still that has to take a, I think, big change. It is required, number one. Second thing is that regarding the drone, we talked about the drone. I think it's a good thing to hear about the drone and I think the pesticide spray. I'm also currently associated with a few thousands of farmers. We grow the gherkins, and I think all of us may be knowing that the mini cucumber, which we grow with the contract farming in Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and Andhra Pradesh. I'm associated with that. I was also one of the persons who were responsible for introduction of that crop in 1990s to Karnataka or India for the contract farming. We do that. So of late this year, we had a series of problems with the export because of the insect called the fruit fly. Okay, fruit fly is a Docus, this Bacterocerca cucurbitae, that is causing a serious problem that injects into the fruit, and I think that when it is processed also, it is not visible because it injects from the outside. I think how can we use this drone technology, because in half an acre, because the farmers are half an acre, quarter acre farmer, they grow these gherkins, and even in fact the jalapenos also we grow that. How can this drone, because the spraying is an important thing there, because the continuous spray is required, and also we use the lot of other technology for pheromone traps and all the baits, everything we use that. But still it is not effective. This year, many containers exported to Europe are rejected, and a lot of issues are going on with the industry. So many industries, the more than 45 processors are there. I think some of them are getting closed. I think I heard yesterday from some people. I think how can we, as in the intellectuals here, I think we can support this kind of industries to solve this kind of problem. I think it's a good, good to know about all these things, and a good learning for me this session. Thanks a lot, Jagdish. Thanks a lot, Manoj. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think you've defined, people like Manoj Sinha, they look for specific problems. So here is one. It reminds me of the problem that Professor Patil brought up yesterday with regard to exporting of mangoes, I think. So again, drone technology is being developed. And again, Priyajan is also specializing in developing, field-specific, maybe crop-specific drones. So maybe we can have a more discussion on that later in the evening, or another time we could connect to you through Jagdish Sumkar or myself. And then I will discuss with our team headed by Dr. Basuraj Girinawar and see what can be done, because we don't want to go low on exports. Very few agri exports that we have, and if mangoes is one of them, gherkins is another one, then we should be taking it very seriously is what I meant. Okay, sir, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So we just have another couple of minutes for anyone else to make a comment on this particular presentation by Mr. Manoj Sinha. All right. So we are doing good on time. Thank you, Manoj.
Let me just give me one last minute for bringing this. I told you,
please,
the solutions or the thing that I have in my mind, which possibly we can take back home. We said that from the point of view of solutioning, let's go, and this is what we have learned in IT, agile and design thinking approach, right? Agile means we offer step-by-step solutions, small solutions put together one after another, so that at any given point of time, the farmers can actually they don't get overwhelmed by the solution that they get, and slowly and steadily get integrated with new technologies, right? And also, when we say design thinking, means that we have to also through multiple stages of connect with the farmers, we get more and more information about what they need, understand their problems, right? Collaborative, as I said, collaborative approach is the only way out for this kind of a complex topic, right? I am also talking about that there should also some kind of a consortium that must emerge, whether it's state-owned or it's otherwise, to standardize on data sharing. Definitely, there is going to be a big challenge when there's so many places where data is, and then we're not able to share with each other, right? And also multiple applications, they should start talking to each other. Right today, in any app you can log in using Google, for example. How it is happening? Because Google has opened up, right? And they have given this interface. Then and then also as somebody also mentioned that we must include these technologies into agricultural curriculums and also into vocational programs, so that slowly and steadily we actually bring up our new generation, right? And this is another one in new generation direction, saying that we must also excite very young people out there in the villages by the way of Sunday schools, or involving them into some games. Go and find out what is the what kind of crops you have in which fields, and then you put it into the mobile applications and so on. So slowly we make them aware that mobiles are also available, usable in agriculture, right? Look for community approach when it comes to experimenting with high-end technologies. Not just one farmer, but whole village can be put together. Somebody sponsors, and we put a technology which normally a small farmer can't approach. And also we also need to have some kind of a friendlier face for our digitalization. Most of the farmers think it's a monster. Somebody mentioned it, that nobody wants to actually get closer to this, and they say, okay, forget it. I mean, my take here is that if they have accepted WhatsApp, what's this? Right?
Well said.
Somewhere and somehow the ecosystem has to also evolve. And this particular conference, which Dr. Basu has kind of put in place and conceptualized, is one such forum which will bring or help creating the ecosystem, with multiple stakeholders coming together. At least once a year, if we meet, that itself, it will be a good way to start, but probably a quarterly, for all you know.
Will do.
Also public-private partnership projects. I also have, we have also started calling STASCA partnership, that is startups and scale-ups, right? They have to come together. Those scale-ups have money and they have some ideas, and startups can actually bring in the components from there, right? And also, in the end, we have to say that we have to make PA affordable. And somebody, or we have been talking in multiple different talks, that PA as service, which even Dr. Basu also mentions, we have to put in place.
Terrific. Thank you, Manoj. I hope this idea box slide is available for all of us through the organizers, and we should really explore that more and more. There was one hand that was risen when you began to talk, so I sort of okay. So this is the last comment or a question from on this session before we move on to Professor S.A. Patil. Jason, do you have a question or a comment to make?
Yeah, thank you so much. It has been wonderful both the days, and it's been quite a learning. And something that I just thought while this last session was happening is that, often what we see is the trust factor is missing when you want to take anything to a farmer. And even recently I've been trying to handhold farmers into low-cost organic inputs so that they can, get better organic crops and even get better rates. But the first thing they would do is they would go and talk to the local fertilizer shop, who will put down your idea, or they will have somebody else who's selling another product. Due to their vested interests, they actually, fight each other. So that is something that I noticed. So like we said, unless there's a collaboration, unless there is a federation that's working together, this trust factor is always going to be a problem for the farmer. He won't know who to trust. And the other point that I also came across is when people come up with a technology, they go with a half-baked. Earlier, the previous session, how Doctor was talking about is standardize first and then take it. But there are many people who are even startups who come up with some ideas and they want to profit quickly, so they go into the to the farmer with half-baked ideas, or they are great ideas but not fully prepared, and then the farmer suffers. So once he suffers, he doesn't want to come close to anything related to technology or organic or something new. He's saying that I would rather go to what happened 50 years back. I know it worked.
Yeah,
so,
we would have lost his trust. So yeah. So can you finish up, please? Yeah.
So that is what I thought. I think we need to bring in, even while we are working, before we launch a technology, even if we assume it's 2 years ahead we are going to launch it, we should now start working with them, collecting information and meeting them more often, so that when we give it to them, they will already know who we are and the trust will be there. So that's my points. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're already 2 minutes over. I'm just going to provide a slot for Mukesh Saini to pose a very quick comment or a question, please, and a short answer. Go ahead, Mukesh. Mukesh, okay, maybe, I'm not sure. Just one more question on the chat box, Dr. Gayatri Devi. Just a thought, if pest behavior managed through technology, possible to control damage. Ma'am, this is exactly what's happening amongst many R&D institutions. Many people are following pests of all sorts, specific to a crop or two. And I think that it's something that they already, they've been doing that before they evolve solutions to that. Thank you very much. It's a good point. Okay, now I would like to again thank Manoj and all the other participants in this session. Thank you so much. And now I'm looking forward to this particular talk by Professor S.A. Patil. I don't think it needs introduction. A lot of his students are already here, including Basavaraj Girenawar, our MD CEO. Just for a few brief lines, if he doesn't mind. Sir, Dr. S.A. Patil was former director, IARI, which means a lot. I mean, director of IARI means a whole lot of things. So I won't go into all of that. And the Vice Chancellor of University of Agriculture Sciences, Dharwad. That's where I think he met many people who are in this particular conference. And the Chairman of Karnataka Krishi Mission, which I think is through that, he's continued to reach out to villages, which is where I think he's probably making the most difference, despite all the challenges that he's facing. There was a government Karnataka slot or a position, appointment, and that was in the rank of the state minister. Sir, without spending more time, I would like to invite you to please discuss your topic, integration of global technologies to achieve goals of sustainable agriculture. Over to you, sir. Professor Patil.
Thank you. I was very much impressed by all the speakers who gave a lot of ideas on digitalizing agriculture, creating digital platforms to take it to the advanced stage. But as you know, I will be talking in the Indian perspective. We have our geographical area is 305 million hectares and cultivated area is 141 to 42 million hectares. If you take repeat crops under irrigated situations, it will be around 185 million hectares. So almost equal to United States. So with this background, what we are producing, we are boasting that 315 million tons of food grains is nothing as compared to China, which uses only 100 million hectares. Like that, you can go on naming several countries who are far ahead. What is the problem? What is the problem in India that our yields are low? So the engineering aspect of in agriculture is totally less, except designing a tractor and implements. The land development aspect, taking river as the base. Watershed people have done, but taking Nala as the base, but river as the base, if they take and develop the lands and then improve the carbon content, the fertility improvement, I think we are going to compete with any other country. These the only government have to do, and this is a policy thing. And for this, any technology which other countries like Israel have followed, they were only sandy soils and they have made fertile soils. These technologies can come on the digital platform and then an experimental farm to be created either in universities or on a government farms. And then we have to teach to the students this can be converted into very fertile land. This is one suggestion. Similarly, water is another input, as Basuraj mentioned. So how we are using water? So you know, right from Bakranangal to Krishna Tungabhadra project, only flooding is the very less drip irrigation. There is always a saying by Dr. Swaminathan, more crop per drop of water. Probably digital platform have to bring with a concept of more rupees per drop of water. That includes business and value of the agriculture produce also. I am stressing on how we can relate our technology, global technology to the digital platform so that it can happen on the ground physically. So land is one, water is one, and then soil fertility we have talked. So we are growing monocrops. Can we green the 3 acres of farm of the farmer, make it a green with agroforestry or fruit crops? Even in dry land, there are several species which can come with less rainfall also. That will build a capital, because I will tell an example where I awarded a PhD degree to a farmer by name Abdul Rauf in Sirsi. He has about 5,000 teak trees planted 45 years back. Today that value, what we have estimated, is around 100 crores capital. It can say as long-term capital. Whether this model we can impose through examples, through demonstrations, that the tree culture can enter into agriculture. Similarly, fodder, we can say whatever the enterprises, if he has a dairy, fodder also can. Now monocrop growing has become a problem for farmers not to have income. This is one thing. So as rightly mentioned by Manoj, I think the number of hours which the farmer work in India in the dry land for a particular crop in Kharif season. I am from Gulbarga, I will take red gram. In whole 365 years, he works only for about 500 hours to protect his crop, to harvest and bring it to market. But 500 hours of working, he doesn't know other enterprises. So the digital platform have to bring avenues that whether he can do some other enterprises, either on farm or non-farm, at his farm or at his house, so that his income and number of working hours in these are the grassroots things physically where we can really transform and bring sustainability through income also, not only in yield. So like this we can go on. Which country has I will just list global technologies, which country is forward in which aspect. Water storage and management utilization, Netherlands and Israel are forward. Whether that technology we can bring and put on a large scale demonstration in the university system, that with automation that this can be taught to the students. Similarly, if you take organic farming, if you take traditional wisdom, India is leading, but nobody has gathered the information and put in the literature form. Agroforestry, Australia is leading. Dairy science, Denmark, Israel, USA, Canada. Canada, they are more from male cows than female cows. I actually visited and studied. They produce white meat and sell it 8 times more than the red meat. Then olives, Italy, Canada in canola. Then like that, Hawaii in sugarcane. Then Morocco in dates, and including Arabian countries. Banana, India again. Grapes, India. Controlled condition again, Israel and Netherlands. Then aeroponics, Colorado. Hydroponics, aquaponics in Canada. So whether somebody can scout these technologies of at a global level and bring it to the local level and see that some institutes take lead and see that they are operated and it is made easy to be adopted by the Indian farmers with whatever skilling or training or whatever it is possible, then only I think the digital platform will be a reality with these physical changes. So this is the crux of the problem. Then so many other things, fertilizer management, spraying management, integrated farming approach for increased income, how to export. So whether we can reduce the land in India on wheat and rice, as China has done for rice, whether we can reduce and put to the crops which are required by other countries, instead of saying that we are 60 million tons we have produced extra. Similarly, in cotton, raw cotton we are exporting. It is really pathetic that our textile industry is not using the whatever cotton we are producing. We can go on discussing on and on like this, but how to achieve it in an Indian context? So probably the policy making people are to be catalyzed through this conference. Somebody has to write. So whether this, in India also, there are so many people who have applied technology. I was at Delhi, there is one of our farmer by name Chauhan. His income from mushroom cultivation is 12 crores. There is Sultan Singh in Haryana, he has 30 acres of fish cultivation. His income is around 10 crores. Likewise, Sare Patil, there is 100 poly houses in Maharashtra. His income is around 25 crores. So whether these examples can be brought to the common platform with the group or community approach like Israel, what kibbutz they sell, but lot of social exercise, policy exercise one has to do before making these digital platforms a reality and touching the heart of the smallest farmer of the country. This is but now service sector has to be very strong, because when mechanization and using of high-tech equipments and implements, the service sector is very, very weak in India. If that some pump goes wrong, he has to wait for 8 days and take to city of taluk headquarters. If tractor goes wrong, like that. So many gadgets will come in the precision agriculture, which Manoj told, and also yesterday fintech people, and Basuraj is after it. But at the grassroots level, probably so many policy changes, governance issues, training. I am thinking that we have a Dean's Committee for changing the syllabus of the agriculture university basic degrees, that like Bachelor of Agriculture or any other degree which we are giving. So there probably like medical 1 year internship. Now they have RAWE. This is only a joke there. They spend a lot of time in preparing for JRF and SRF rather than doing actual RAWE work. Most of them, I don't say everybody. And we have experiential learning also. They are also not much seriousness. So 1 year internship training with practical farm management, applying digital technologies or whatever mechanization is there. Let them go ahead with the polyhouse cultivation or whatever, and then earn the degree. So this will go in a long way. These are my random thoughts that which I wanted to connect to the latest thinking that what Basuraj has brought and organized this Agri-Tech Development Conference. I am really thankful to him and his all group and speakers that I have been educated in the modern technologies, but at grassroots level, probably social institutions have to take lead to put it on the ground and make that reality. The farmer's income is 32,000 only per annum, whereas even a class 4 servant or chaprasi is earning around 2.5 lakhs to 3 lakhs per annum. So this dissimilarity has to go, and only technology and marketing services and value addition and grassroots level physical changes, which I indicated, can only bring the prosperity, and adoption of these platforms will be enhanced. People who can afford, how they go to by aeroplane now, that will become the reality in adopting these technologies also when his financial condition improves. So these are my random thoughts as to how global technology one can link to make it economically sustainable, environmentally viable, and socially acceptable. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Professor S.A. Patil. I think you've really made some highly critical points, which requires the attention of the authorities and the policymakers. So we can keep pushing, but unless the priorities of the authorities and the policymakers change, it's very difficult. It seems very difficult to, for us to keep pushing this. So, I mean, I cannot understand. You made some excellent points with regard to, you've taken the trouble of listing the countries who are specializing in certain areas of agriculture, horticulture, whatever. And the thought that came to my mind was at the national level, Indian Army, Indian Navy, Indian Air Force conduct joint exercises with other countries in the region. It could be Australia, it could be Indonesia, it could be Malaysia, America, and so on. And likewise, at the sports level, we bring in all these wonderful stars for IPL cricket match from wherever. Now, why can't we do that at the international, at the national level? Bring in those wonderful people that you've listed and see what is that they can do. Sir, you're on mute. You're on mute, sir. Can you unmute, please?
Yeah, this is very much required. I think absolutely. I think somebody has to start. I think the technocrats who came together to this conference itself, think whether we can make one experiment at some university taking collaboration, as rightly mentioned by Jay Kiri, that there are so many universities specialized in several things in India, but they never meet. They are in isolation. So IITs are there, several advanced institutes are there, biological sciences are a lot of advancement, so many institutes, agriculture, they compartmentalize. Probably they have to come together, as rightly mentioned by him. And agriculture, as he said about the grants, because I prepared the 12th plan for the country. So they are not even allocating even agriculture 1% of the GDP. It is 0.5 to 0.8 sometimes, that's all. About 25,000 crores for ICR over a period of 5 years. What they can do. I think it has to be at 1 lakh crore at least. 1% of the agriculture GDP will do a lot of things. It goes mostly for salary only.
Yes. Yes, I think the famous slogan, I think, of Lal Bahadur Shastri ji was Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, in that order. And then I think Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee added Jai Vigyan. So if that is the sequence, again, Jawan comes first, Kisan comes second. Of course, we need to protect the sovereignty of the country from the attack of the foreigners and all that. That's only even farmers can feel protected. But somehow the stress on the farmers, the importance on the farmers has to increase. And because we keep getting stuck in all sorts of issues, it loses its priority. So I think
example, the apathy of the farmers. See, Lambani takes a basket of sitafal and she sits on the road to sell. We are going in a car and we'll ask her to give all basket at 100 rupees, which contains at least 50. It will be 2 rupees per piece.
Yes.
When you go to the market, Bangalore market or Hyderabad market, it is 80 rupees or 100 rupees a kilo.
Yes.
So whether we can make her to reach Bangalore or Hyderabad market,
Yes.
And then the digital platform can even take to international markets.
Yes. All right, I'll open up for other discussions. Dr. Girinawar, I know you learned a lot from Professor Patil. Anything you wish to add? And also open up for other people to make some comments. We still have some time, please.
This is fantastic. Sir has been, inspirational, guiding many students. And I'm, as you, Dr. Jagdish mentioned, I'm one of the inspired students from Dr. S.A. Patil. They have been a classical, sir is a classical breeder. The varieties of cotton have revolutionized the whole in the world. And sir has been, leading the research, innovation in plant breeding, and also administration, policy setting. Sir, I think you have done incredible, but again, I know I've been requesting you to lead again and again because you have that power, authority and all. There is a lot many things are going on, as Manoj Sinha mentioned, and everybody acknowledged we need to collaborate, do the cross industry across the institutes. I think sir has done a phenomenal thing. I know, I'm beneficiary of it. I have seen it. So and a specific comment from my side, either in one or two states like Karnataka or Gujarat or Maharashtra, can we set up a precision agriculture farms? Let us go and adopt farmers themselves.
Yes.
Because the moment we do in private, let the farmer invest in it, because 13% of the farmers are medium and big. If we can pick up, they are more than 1 crore in the country. We can actually, I'm of the opinion, Dr. Jagdish, we should throw a smart farming past challenge. I call this precision agriculture as a service. I'm planning to think, come up with this one, throw the challenge to the farmers, let them be participative. They don't need to invest much. Industry can invest, but they become part and parcel of this entire adoption challenge, translation challenge. Sir, my request is, if we can take one state and identify, say, top 10 KVKs and identify few farmers where they would like the viability of them adopting and succeeding is out there. I think KVKs can do this, and Monday I have a bunch of KVK scientists visiting. I think it would be nice. Sir, why I'm mentioning this one, with your involvement, it will be successful, because the dynamics which succeed, also the dynamics which fail. So that was my, I think, protracted comment, but I would stop making comment and take offline, Dr. Jagdish.
Okay, thank you so much. Do we have anyone else? Any other comments from anybody else? Okay. Okay, there is Mr. Mukesh Saini, and then after him, Mr. Jagdish Sunkar. Go ahead, Mukesh.
Thank you for unmuting myself. Before that, I was not able to unmute. It was blocked by the host. No worries. So I can. It's a nice idea by Dr. Baswaraj. I think I can volunteer for Maharashtra. I have got some land there. We can build to something based on precision agriculture. And just to know, I'm also working on a greenhouse, solar-based passive greenhouse project. So one of the solutions to the pesticide pests could be, growing in a protected environment. And I know the infrastructure cost may be high here, but we can go modular. We can go small in size, and we can scale it up accordingly. We can use also multiple technologies there, like vertical farming, maybe aquaponics or hydroponics, to see that we have the optimal growth, and that may be a way forward.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you for volunteering that. We will make a note of that. Jagdish, you are next. Mr. Jagdish Sunkar.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I want to use this occasion to appeal to Basu, please. Basuraj Girinawar. Let's make this at least a biennial event. Having done this wonderful 2 days, I think we should make this more often. Engineering in agriculture is missing.
Yes.
As much as data science, as much as mechanical, whatever else. It's been wonderful to really bring people out of the so-called mold of agri-universities to express their concern and participation.
Yes.
Okay? Not that something is bad or wrong. As I have seen for a long time when I have exchanged notes with Dr. Patil, that was for a certain regulatory requirement as well as an academic requirement. But we need applied science in agriculture. A set of institutions.
Yes.
Beginning with this event, let's do it, please. That's my appeal to you.
Thank you,
Excellent.
Jagdish. We'll
Excellent
definitely,
idea.
do this and many more things. Thank you for
All right.
coming.
Thank you.
Ms. Mamata, you have a question or a comment to make? Please unmute yourself. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. Namaskara. I'm from
Namaste.
Bangalore, not from farming background. I've been listening to from yesterday and going through all the thing. I'm a very close friend of dear friend of Jagdish Sunkar. I have seen farming right from my childhood days. My father was in the railways. Just give me 2 minutes. So from there, I just said, I wanted Mr. Patil to engage with Mr. Patil. That because I think almost all of us are taught in geography the kharif crops, this crop, that crop, the vegetation and everything. But how many children will actually get to know what it is? Anybody? Most of us don't know. We are taught about soils. We are taught about everything to do with agriculture in geography. But none of us know what actually it is. Even children are not able to differentiate between coriander and curry leaves. So I personally appeal to people who can do it to introduce a practical, just like you have it for any other subjects, a practical, at least one day, let them be taken to a nearby farm and told what is what crop. That will enhance their knowledge. And this will go a long way in choosing agriculture in, further. And just I want to give one thing. I had a tenant who was from agriculture background, but doing engineering. Father is a headmaster of a government school. They have a lot of farms. But he was not allowed to go into agriculture because it's not. That's why I have been always saying yesterday I had commented, please introduce engineering in agriculture. They're already there. Roorkee University gives. There are 6 universities in USA which is giving agricultural engineering. Because I'm part of Global Indian Scientists and Technocrats. I'm part of that group where we have education and agriculture stream. I've been doing a lot of my own interest. There are in India also, we have introduced these agriculture and engineering in agriculture. Then only children will take up this course. Because farmers, they want their children to be getting into engineering. Whether they have become a good engineer or not, that's a different thing. But all farmers, they want their children to become engineers. Come to urban area and become.
All right.
Thank you. Last but not least, I want to tell you, please involve government school, rural, urban, rural. I'm on Kanakpura Road. I have a government school near my. Children are so educated about farming and the crops because almost all of them have a farmland in native places.
Excellent.
So please introduce this education in the, in the school levels. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think we probably need to end here. No, we have another 3 minutes because the next speaker has got some power issues with his laptop, I think. So while he's still getting that fixed, we probably have some more time. I don't know if there's anyone else who had raised their hand. I don't see anyone else here. Okay, Mukesh. So sorry, there was one message from Dr. Girinawar. I think you're creating a movement here. So we had Mr. Mukesh Saini is volunteer from Maharashtra. Now Mr. Abhishek Kumar wants to volunteer from Bihar.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, maybe we should eventually, by the end of the year, if we have another meeting, you will have one volunteer in every state of India.
Absolutely.
So that should be your target for you. Okay.
I request, I just add on to this volunteering. We would like to bring in many dimensions to it. As Ms. Mamta mentioned about the education, Professor Patil sir mentioned about, bringing international excellent things to local, global technologies to local problems. I call upon, many of the people here who probably this country is blessed with many entrepreneurs. But apparently the success rate in agriculture or agri-tech or agri-based enterprises are not that much. I would like to open up the challenges where they have to be incubated. I'm a success story because Dr. S.A. Patil sir mentioned, he put a first incubation, even when the incubation itself was not a concept in 2007, 8, and 10 at Harvard Agricultural University. Well, what I mean by saying this is we need to bring in more entrepreneurs and give them these challenges, be it education. I know Ms. Mamta Madam, she spoke at length. There would be educational domain entrepreneurs. They can take up this specific thing. And there are many opportunities for us to collaborate, bring the problem statements to collectively address it in a collaborative mode. And here, the guy who is putting this together as a curator, Krishna, has agri-tech, hackathons and challenges. We would definitely look forward to, participate various audiences, especially young entrepreneurs, college kids. How best we can throw this? There are multitudes of challenges which could be solved through intervention of entrepreneurs and collaboration of private and public institutions. With this comment, I leave actually to Krishna and Dr. Jagdish to comment on further at different part of the session. Thank you.
We'll take it further. We have our speaker back. Mr. Nataraj is back. I think systems are working. So I would like to request Mr. Nataraj, who is our colleague in the set of companies, specifically in AgriApp Technologies. He is currently the Chief Technical Officer at AgriApp Technology Private Limited. He's got 22 plus years of experience in providing vision and leadership for developing and implementing information technology initiatives. So we've been talking about convergence, IT and engineering and all sorts. So I think he's one person we are so lucky to have in our set of companies for him to share his knowledge, his skills, and then help us to reach where we want to reach. So his topic is Agri-Tech Marketplace from Farm to Fork. Mr. Nataraj, over to you, please. Thank you.
Good evening to everybody. I'm sorry, I think there are some a bit technical problems here in the office. I'm really thankful to giving an opportunity for me to be part of this conference, and particularly Dr. I think Basaraj sir and Jagdish Mitra sir, and also all the participants who has taken up the time and part of this event. So we are expecting the industry leaders who has given a lot of knowledge from yesterday to present it to the audience, and which can take up the lot of learnings and for agri sectors to make the farming more organized as a business sector. So Jagdish sir, is my slides are visible to you?
Yes, very much so. Please continue. Please proceed.
Yeah. So thank you. So I'll not take much time and just jump on to my presentations. So my topic is marketplace for an agri-tech marketplace for the farming sectors. So marketplace means that's connecting from the farm to the fork. It means the entire ecosystems which comes from the farm field to the maybe fingers of the consumer. So which another day, which we used to feed ourselves, and the farmers who produce a lot of things and who feed the entire world. I think post COVID, during COVID, the entire industry, the digital transformation is happened very heavily. Start from learning from home, working from home. I think even ordering from home and getting delivery at the homes, right? So I think why not the agri sectors? The transformation cannot happen. So that's where I think agri feeds. We are really thankful me being part of AgriApp Technologies Private Limited, which is jointly ventured by Biogen. I'm sure, I think when I am deeply involved with a few of our customers who comes on chat or on the calls, their only question is, I think any business leaders or business players or business service provider who come to the market or who reaches to the farm or visit their houses, their feeling is that you people come and promote something, sell something, and go back. No one really looking at addressing the pain points of the farmers. So
I think we lost Mr. Nataraj. Krishan, any issues there? The speaker's voice is not coming through.
Yes, some of the network issues went, sir. He will get back.
How long should we wait, Krishan?
He has some network issues at his end.
So we can.
Sridhar, are you there? You can switch over in case if Sridhar or somebody is there.
Yes, sir. I'm there.
So if it continues to be issue, we can move to the next speaker and then come back later in the evening. Is someone in touch with him over the phone?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We have Nataraj back, so he can continue.
Okay.
Great, Nataraj, go ahead.
Good to have you back, Nataraj. Can you hear us?
Yes, sir. Sorry,
Okay,
I think there are some again power issues. Is my screen visible to all?
Yeah. Please continue from where you left.
Yeah. So I think the next big thing, I don't say it's a fancy things, that the next big necessity in platform as a service in a technology terms is an integrated digital marketplace for all agri businesses, which brings farmers and original equipment and input manufacturers, industrials buyers, service partners, technology vendors, finance and insurance partners together. So this way, the marketplace which can enable so many players in the agri sectors to bring all farmers and the entire farming ecosystems onto the platforms. When farmer starts planning his land preparations, so what is requirements? What is the next crops which he needs to do? So I think that data information still is not available to the farmer's hand. So when that starts capturing at the ground levels, the necessary inputs which are required, all input providers can make their products available on the platforms, which easily available to the farmers, can start using it at the right time to do right things and right farming, which eventually hits the I think economical farming sectors. So the agri-tech indicators like how drone services or any other satellite image services and crop care management, so the buyers and consumers, the finance and insurance sectors, all these major top players can come into the platforms, make their services list and products and tools and machines are available for the end farmers. So to make use of them, to make the more effective and efficient farming in the farming sectors. So the AgriTech marketplace, so mainly for these agriculture tools and machines, soil testing labs and kits, and even laboratories at different locations. As examples, I think if some farmers wants to do some soil testing at Jharkhand, if nearby lab is make it available on the platform, he can immediately place a request and send the sample to the nearby labs and get the soil test lab test done and the parameters identified, which can give the predictive insights. So what are the parameters lacking in terms of nutrition and any other parameters which are required to have the efficient crop. So the agri inputs like any fertilizers and pesticides and other materials or input materials which are required, if the manufacturers can list all of their products on the marketplace, which can made available easily at an affordable price, we hear many things from the end farmers that there are a lot of replicas or copies products made it available in the industry, which are really end farmers are not able to figure it out whether it's a fake or replica or copy products or it's an original product to make use of the right products. In that process, I think the genuine service provider in the industry getting damaged, which is really affecting the farmers' outcome. So the agri-tech service providers also can list their services, starting from drone services to satellite images to agri-tech experts, agronomists, and crop management service providers also can list on the platform, which can directly connect with the farmers in the process of crop cycle to make them to do right things at the right time. And also the agri output procurers. So like you might have seen many agri output procurers like Ninja Card, Big Baskets and all. I think those are very specific and limited to the area of procuring some agri outcomes. But eventually, so when digitalization and transformation happens in the industry, entire ecosystems can come into the platform where all produce can come there, all services can come there, and all procurers also come there. So eventually that gets balanced between the demand and supply. When demand and supply gets balanced, definitely the major problems what farming sectors are facing can be minimized. The pricing factors and improvising the quality. The main purpose of having a marketplace is to have the better quality of produce and have the right price and fair price and transparency creating across the marketplace. And agri-tech entrepreneurs like I think Vasara sir and also one of our colleague Sri Harsha has given a detailed, and even Manoj Sinha's one of his slides definitely gives the touch points for billions of millions of data points where we can capture and maybe have the history maintained and apply a lot of logics and I think AI and ML and artificial intelligence and some algorithms and get the best insights out of it and making a right issue points. So the challenges faced in some of the challenges faced in traditional agriculture. I think most of the audience and the speakers panel are definitely aware of all these challenges. So these are the few things which are picked from the recent top one of the Fortune 500 companies who done the agri sector research, particularly in India. So the volatility in input prices and suboptimal input selection. That's because of inadequate data on supply and demand of inputs due to limited digitalization. The results in high volatility of prices. The prices can be even for the input products and even could be for the agri producers as well. Farmers typically rely on inputs from retailers. So in a traditional farming, what happens? The farmer just goes to his nearby shop, so where traditionally is followed maybe from his father times to your grandfather's time. So whatever maybe they get, so they'll just tend to use and apply. It could be fertilizers or pesticides or anything. That resulting in excessive or suboptimal use of the elements. So that can be even the platforms where we build a transparency. So that can slide. I think majorly we can minimize that. And limited technology access for farmers. So the technology is available in all the sectors. So that the availability to the end farmers, due to the traditional farming stickiness by the farmers. So that's causing low technology adoptions there. I think that's where most of the startups and companies like us coming forward to understand those pain areas and where we can fill the gaps and understand the find the solutions for those problems. Looking at the data points and giving the solutions to the farmers. The data access along the agriculture value chain leads to limited visibility to farmers regarding the crop seed and soil productivity as well. So the traditional farming techniques leads to soil degradations over the years that can be monitored with the technology and apply a lot of logics and given what to use, when to use, how to use, which eventually yields the efficient produce. So the lower realization rates of farmers due to uncertainty demand resulting in inefficient crop seeds. So there is an opportunity to make use of the crop cycles, but in traditional farming, where there is a possibility of having a 4 crops, I think today's farmers are end up doing only 2 crops or even only 1 crops. So when these can be addressed as a platform with the technology, so the effective and efficient use of the availability of land, so can be used to increase the number of crops and cropping cycles. So high cost of procurement for farmers due to I think various intermediaries in the channel of input availability and even output purchasing and output deliverability. So that can also be minimized. Lack of access to financial solutions. I think this is one of the major things. I think as Mr. Manoj Sinha has mentioned, I think 73% of farmers are in that. I think mostly 90+% of the farmers are very small and medium. So there was an article mentioned. Most of these 80 to 90% of the farmers don't have the sufficient like financial capability to
ಅದು presentation ಇದೆ ಇದನ್ನ ಸೇರಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು
Sharing?
Yeah, share the screen, click on that. Share. Presentation. Click on. Stop. No, hide. ಅದು ಸೌಂಡ್ ಆನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸರ್, ಸೌಂಡ್ ಆನ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ. Just click on here. What? Unmuted.
Are the slides not moving?
Sir, just I'm switching over to other PC. There is some power problem. Just 5 seconds.
So while we are waiting for that, have we
Sorry,
actually?
Is it visible, sir?
Yeah, continue. Please continue.
Yeah. So the next thing is unlocking the value of agri-tech marketplace. I think the marketplace can enable facilitating input market linkages, support with a robust digital infrastructure, with intelligence insights from the farm and to the farm, from the farm and to the farms. That means so the insights based on the crops and other data points can be taken, and also in the chain of crop deliveries at the end consumer point to the back to the farms, so that the insights can be fed. Digitalize insights for farm management. So that could be like your crop matrices, your land matrices, your nutritional matrices, all can when comes to the common platforms. Lot of expertise, advice and recommendations can be given to the farmers. So that will yield to the improvising yield through precision agriculture. So I think that precision agriculture, that itself is a big topic, one of our business models. I think our Basaraj sir and others speakers from yesterday, they are touch base on those specific models. Then instituting the quality management and traceability, the output market linkages through efficient post-harvest supply chains, enabling and linking them. So this starting from providing crop insights and then to the platform, then applying a lot of mediatory softwares and tools and mechanisms, and it could be in any tools and automated machines, technologies or software, which can in turn connect it with a lot of algorithms and AIs and machine language, which will give up the decisive implementable actions points, which leads the actionable items. So this is the ecosystems for a marketplace which can enable our farming sectors. So the unlocking value of agri-tech marketplace in a nutshell, for a few sectors. So that is one for agri imports. So that's like providing the right seeds, right fertilizers, and right pesticides at the right time. So when farmers onboards and give his crop cycles as a base information, from there every sequential information can be triggered back and made it available to the farmers through platforms. Then the farming as a service. I think so based on one of the inputs, 80+% of the farmers doesn't have the minimum financial capability. We cannot expect them to own the larger equipment on their own. So in that process, the financial capable players in the market can own the large equipment and make it available in the regions specific. So where farmers can, based on the requirement, as a daily basis or hourly basis, can be subscribed to the platforms. So they can make use of those equipment to starting from their land preparation to the harvesting stage. Then coming to the farming automations. So I think I know S.A. Patil sir and or Basara sir have been to all the geographic and even Jagdish sir as well. How we in India, I think our farming sector's size of the land is very small when we compute per farmer land size. But in other countries, it's large. I think the robotics and large automated systems have been adapted in other countries. So if might not be all of those, at least which are relevant and which suits for our size of the land when farmers are using it, those things can be enabled. So an examples which are visible today in our own sectors and in our own companies. So drone services, I think drone services. So I'm sure we cannot cover up the entire country. So we can make these options available to the drone service provider. They can come and make their drone services available. So we can enable that services to all the farming sectors. Then moving to the, so the information is more very crucial for any decision points. So the platform can enable to maintain the history of the farmings, like online platforms, so the data, so the IoT data points and pricing history and pricing predictions points, so market informations and market variations, seasonal demand and weather forecastings. I think weather is one of the major points for the farming. So, we always say, so luck, most of the process is hard work. So does it really luck favoring them? I'm really doubtful. So that's why so that's why the companies like us and should come forward. So make their job much more, I would say, completely easier, much more simpler, and making their job easy. So with a lot of technology and insights and information enabling to them, and maybe try and also the major starting and endpoint like demand and supply balancing. Then the platform for produce and traceability. These more focus towards the supply chain and the moment of the availability, possibility, accountability, and producibility. These few things, if you bring in a singular line, is a linear method, we can be able to like balance the supply chain, meeting the end consumer demands. So I think that's why the traceability plays a major role there. So the traceability might not be possible for all the farm produce, at least for a major trackable producers, we can enable the technology and start improvising the efficiency and effectiveness of the available information to the end consumer, and also the price prediction factors to the farmers. Then the past, that is precision agriculture as a service and farm management. So farm management, like starting from like seeding to the harvesting, so the entire ecosystems and entire cycle can be managed. So the types of agri-tech marketplace which can be possibly needed in Indian agri sector is, so the business to consumer marketplaces, business to business marketplaces, and peer to peer, so and consumer to consumer marketplaces. So then consumer to manufacturers and consumer to business. So this is just a outline to give an indications who all, which are the players can be part of these marketplaces. So then identifying and deploying farming trends and patterns from farm to the marketplace. So at the farms, at the greenhouses, where technology and revolutionized farm can give the insights and data points that can be a predictive points, maintaining history, and that can be used for the futuristic trends and analysis. Same way, so I think identifying developing demand trends and seasonal patterns back from the consumer's side to the, that means what I mean in the simpler language, folk to farms. So with all of this is the auctions funds and how its marketplace is going to bring a change as a digital transformation. So in a sectors like agri sectors at the farm side, it can be improved ecological things and biodiversity and the climatic balancings can be enabled, and the consumer will get the right product at the right time for the right price and a customers and the farmers. So which will minimize the gap of supply and demand. So the true factor and true prices will eventually the financial ability improving the farm sectors. So that finally
Dr. Jagdish.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think maybe he was coming to the end of his talk.
That's right.
So I think we've got the gist of it. He did well despite the challenges. So should we move on?
I think so.
Okay. Krishan, are you ready to move to the next talk? If you are, then I will just give my closing remarks for this and then introduce the next speaker.
So we can go ahead, sir.
All right. So we will get back to Mr. Nataraj later during the open session, but I think he was coming to the end of his talk. I think wonderful platforms are being set up, PASS and others, where we can converge people from various consumer groups and development groups and all that in one place and see what is that can be done. So I think it was a very well made, prepared talk as well as excellent slides. So hopefully you will come back to answer a few questions if there are any. So with that, I would like to thank Mr. Nataraj for his time and then giving a very interesting talk. Now we move to the last session. And I know it was originally started as Dr. Amita Ganapati, Senior Scientist Product Manager in Creagen Agri and Biotech Private Limited. Unfortunately, he couldn't come owing to a challenge that she's facing. So in her place, we are very lucky to have Mr. Anthony Swami. Okay, he actually works with her also. So he is going to be her backup, and he has not changed the topic. So he's going to use the same topic title, Agri-Tech New Driver for Next Green Revolution in India. And introduce him. I'm just going to pull up his brief. So Mr. Anthony Swami graduated from UAS Dharwad. Again, I'm sure you would have come across Professor Patil in one way or the other, and many other good scientists and technologists in UAS Dharwad. Anthony has got experience of 23 plus years in the agri industry. He has successfully served in various capacities in fertilizer companies in sales and marketing teams, and have got the track record of many achievements. He always worked in new markets and set the sales base for many companies like MCF in Tamil Nadu and Uttar Pradesh. He's got experience serving in IoT Mapgas Limited, a German-based biogas power plant, and is responsible for many of the business development activities. And he has led a few startups establishing B2B connectivity across India. I know him reasonably well, and he's a very good communicator. I'm keenly looking forward to listening to his talk. On the talk title is Agri-Tech New Driver for Next Green Revolution in India. So Anthony, you have the challenge of bringing everything together in your presentation, and I'm sure you'll do a good job. So please, the stage is yours. Go ahead. Best wishes.
Yeah, very good evening. Thank you, Jagdish sir, for introducing. So I'm extremely happy to be part of this great Agri-Tech platform with the experts hearing from yesterday, and a special mention to Dr. S.A. Patil and Dr. Basu. So in this vicious cycle of life, a revolution at different instances for the progress and welfare of human being is a must. So let me now take through the glimpses of Agri-Tech as a new driver for next green revolution in India. Due to the connectivity problem, I'm taking the help of Kisan to change the slides. So the now contents are the green revolution then and now, Indian agriculture sector snapshot, technologies and practices transforming agriculture, how to bring IT tools and agri-science into the farmer's life, and startups in Agri-Tech. Next. So the Green Revolution was a period when agriculture in India was converted into an industrial system due to the adoption of modern methods and system and technology from 1960s, with the adoption of new improved varieties of grains, application of better agriculture techniques, irrigation, mechanization, use of fertilizer, use of pesticides. Now, when you think about the Green Revolution, we remember the great scientists, Dr. Norman Borlaug and M.S. Swaminathan, both leading in the Green Revolution and contributing to the Green Revolution. The new green revolution now started from 2020 is fostered with the IoT, satellite image, big data, drone services, market price prediction, and technology. Now, when we talk about Dr. Norman Borlaug, so Dr. Basu was a student, and Dr. Basu is blessed to have Swaminathan visiting his company as well. Next. So the Indian agriculture sector snapshot, if you see, India is the leading producer of multiple crops, and agriculture is one of its most important economical activity. So globally, if you see, we are #1 in producer of milk, pulses, jute, and spices. And agriculture and its allied industries contribute to 17% of GDP with a value of $390 billion. So 160 million hectares of land are used for agriculture activity. 60% of India's rural population depends on agriculture. And the value of agriculture export is 34 billion, constituting 12% in exports. Next. So India remains one of the most arable country. India is home to 10th largest arable land in the world, and about half of the country population source of income is agriculture. And therefore, agriculture plays a vital role in the Indian economy. Next. So if you see this graph, to feed a world population of 9.1 billion people in 2050, food production would have to be increased by 70%. The concern is, with the growing population, the arable land is decreasing. So next, the Indian agriculture at a glance. If you see, the size of agriculture is $277.7 billion, and the mainstay for India's rural economy. So you see the increased index of agriculture production. And as already shared that the GDP is 17.7% by agriculture. The important point to note here is the precision agriculture market is growing. From 2018, it's $5 billion to 2023, it's growing up to $10 billion. And the next concern is the low yield per hectare in India. Next slide. So India suffers from poor yield per hectare across most crops, and that is why we need the AgriTech platform to raise the productivity. Next. Well, there is definitely an opportunity with agriculture sector being a larger backbone of India. The main source of livelihood in rural India is agriculture, and it directly contributes 41% of the labor employment and 15% indirect employment to the laborers in agri sector. Next. While we're talking about agri-tech, what can be the next new driver for next revolution, green revolution in India? Looking at the area, there is no possibility for increasing the area. And with agronomic practices or the crop mix practices, we cannot cater the needs. But the concern is we have to increase the productivity. And when your question is how, the answer to all these can be the technology integration. Next. So I hope you all agree that the technology and the practices will transform agriculture in India. The great research is going on in genetic engineering, like genome selection, micropropagation, tissue culture in the lab. And we have man-made machines, robotics, drones, farm mechanization, automated protected cultivation, IoT and sensors, blockchain, e-marketing on an increased count, visualizing and experiencing agri-tech for sustainable agriculture. Next, coming to the farm mechanization, the labor availability is a major threat and the labor cost has increased. However, the farm implements has accelerated farm mechanization in India. Next, robotics, the multi-use of robotics in agriculture, we can see it is used in weeding through lasers and moving through the field, and it is also used for soil sample collections. Next, the application of drones in agriculture is enormous and is used in monitoring the crop and the animal, including the mapping and spreading. It is also widely used in various analytics, soil and crop analytics, and also in research and smart data. Next. So the drones are being used to spray even the fertilizers and pesticides in a faster rate, using lesser resources like water and pesticides. So they are also used to shoot seeds and monitor plants' health. So the industry in drone is going to increase and reach 12.8 billion by 2022. Next. So looking into the smart components of smart agriculture, we have the biodata, robotics, remote sensing, and the biggest challenge is the big data through satellite. With the big data, we can do miracles in agri-tech platform. So the blockchain and e-marketing is also a concern. The blockchain and smart contracts can increase efficiency, transparency, and traceability in agriculture supply chains, and improve rural development interventions, as well as be an impetus to achieve the sustainable development goals. Next. I hope you agree the key demand drivers for agri-tech are the consumer behavior and the supply chain. Well, the interesting point to notice, the increasing urban population and a move towards healthier pattern is driving a change in the consumer dynamics. So the urban population is projected to reach 36% of India's population by 2022. And while the interesting fact is that there is a demand for nutritious foods like fruits and vegetables on a rise. So the supply chain improvements and efficiencies can help lower food wastage and improve productivity for farmers. Climate resilient technology and data-driven weather forecasts can help combat climate change and drive efficiencies. Data-driven precision techniques in agriculture can drive efficiency in resource utilization. Next, looking into this figure, why don't we all agriculture entrepreneurs think about bringing IT tools and the agriculture science into the farmer's life? And how do we do that? How do we collaborate and do this? So if you see the digital connectivity in India, the number of internet users is increasing year on year, and the smartphone users are also increasing, which can help us to connect digitally with the farming community. Next. Next. So how can India capture the full potential of agri-tech to drive the next green revolution? Indian agriculture has become a long way from being state-focused in ensuring food security to becoming a major producer in the world. Indeed, Indian agriculture has the potential to become the food bowl of the world, provided building efficiency into agriculture produce trade, integrating quality standards as part of the trade practices, trade practices, and optimizing the production costs. So while there are a lot of challenges in agri-tech, we have the solutions like drone, satellite imagery, mobile applications for sowing, big data analytics, input marketplace, farm to retail linkage, farm equipment rental, and smart supply chain, meeting the challenges that we are facing in agri-tech industry. Next, coming to the agri-tech market, the agriculture value chain is very important and been segmented as follows. To see the market linkage, the farmers are rapidly adopting the market linkage solutions in India, and many farmers are partnering directly with the aggregators to sell their produce and pack their produce. In the farm inputs, to increase the productivity, we need to give the right inputs and end-to-end crop solutions to the farmers to use at the right time. Coming to the precision farming, by precision farming, we can definitely increase the productivity to reach the global benchmarks. In farming as a service, the farm mechanization in US is 95%, in China is 57%, and in India it is 40 to 45%, where we need to increase the mechanization. Coming to the financial services, the agri-tech are tackling the issues using technology like micro payments, the mobile banking, and accessibility to farming community in the rural area. Next. Well, talking about the agri-tech, we have the agri-tech startup companies in India. The convergence of government policy, technology, and consumption has led to the mushrooming of many agri companies together. These agri startups are working to enhance the crop output, increase farmer income, better farm management, and drive efficiency in the farm value chain. We have several companies in place in the market linkage, precision farming, financial farming. Next, coming to the AgriTech platform online services, we have drones in place, the market prediction, market price prediction, satellite insights, crop calendar, soil testing facilities, and the crop advisory services. And the other services include the POPs, the package of practice, readily available for the farmer, the news, day-to-day news update for the farmers, and the m-commerce platform to buy the agri inputs through the apps. The upcoming projects in AgriTech could be the satellite image diagnosis, the BioBrahma, the smart farming solutions, the online soil analysis, the BOPIS buying platform, agri entrepreneurs, and M-Store platform. Overall, the private sector could play an important role in capital, technology, infrastructure, access to markets, operational expertise in redefining the Indian agriculture. Next. The existing startups have been trying to address some of the India's agricultural challenges, like the farm management solutions, the production assistant, and access to markets. Next. So as we see, the government support is a must, and improved digital infrastructure. These are the key drivers, supply side drivers, to bring AgriTech in place. The government has to definitely come with a lot of policies that can support the farming community and drive the AgriTech growth. Providing technology access and mechanization options can deliver better productivity and yield for farmers. Increased internet penetration and connectivity can provide information to farmers for better decision making. AgriTech players, collaboration with large technology players can provide innovative solutions for the farming, leading to sustainable agriculture. Next. So next, if you see if you see, there is an agri-tech maturity model which has been built, and it is classified into leaders, explorers, experimenters, and followers. The differentiators like US, UK, Israel, Netherlands have already deployed disruptive technologies within agriculture. And in the explorer platform, we have the agrarian economics like India, China, and Brazil having maximum growth potential through investment in the agriculture sector. And in experimenter, Sweden, Singapore, Finland, and Japan have necessary digital technologies, though they have small portion of contribution from agriculture industry to their economy. And still there are followers where the market is limited with the digital technology penetration in agriculture. Fine. So to conclude, we can say that agri-tech in India is still in infancy stages with just 1% penetration of the addressable market potential of $24 billion US. However, for the Indian agri-tech market to reach its potential, stakeholders across the agri-tech ecosystem need to intervene, including the agri-tech startup companies, the government, farming communities, and the investors. So with this, I like to conclude my topic on the green revolution, next green revolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Anthony. So Anthony Swami, there was a well put together talk, very comprehensive. You touched upon a lot of the subjects. You actually captured many important points and integrated them appropriately, taking them from the previous talks as well. So I think this is a good ending to a series of technical talks that we've had. And there's a lot for people to take home and messages that they can internalize and then start coming up with their own ideas and all of that. So, so I'll open up for discussion, and I've brought back Mr. Nataraj. Nataraj, nice to see you back here. So sorry about the technical difficulties. Don't worry. I thought you were sort of close to the end, so we got the gist of it.
Yeah, no problem.
I'll open up a discussion for questions or comments to be made, addressing both your presentation as well as Anthony's presentation. So any questions, any comments from anybody, please? To start off, what I wanted to mention was that the word revolution is a very important one. Lots of revolutions have happened during the course of evolution of humans. But the one that is pertinent to agriculture is the Green Revolution, which was the title of the last presentation by Anthony, which literally changed, pulled India out of hunger to a situation where we are self-sufficient to the extent that we're even exporting food and certain other commodities. And then, of course, we had the White Revolution, a vision of one single man, Mr. Kurian, in Anand, Gujarat, and he made wonders. He had a good, appropriate government support. And then White Revolution came. And then yesterday, I think Dr. Basuraj Girindamar made a comment that, I mean, that is working like such a charm. You don't hear any problems, any issues coming from people practicing, milk or cooperative milk, movement. And then after the White Revolution, we had the Gene Revolution, thanks to the technologies of BT cotton. It's been in the country for over since 2003, whatever number, that's about 16, 17 years. Has added a lot to the economy, a lot to the GDP and all of that. Of course, there's always a challenge with the pink bollworm, and there are practices that farmers should follow. And of course, new technologies have to come in to manage a pink bollworm as well. And there are many such technologies available in the pipeline. And again, up to the government and policymakers to really provide approval for those crops as well, which can circumvent many problems of pests and labor and weeds and things like that. So it's about time we open up for such technologies as well. I mean, it's amazing. COVID-19 is a genetically engineered vaccine. People are ready once, twice, thrice, injected in their bloodstream. But when a technology of a similar kind, but doesn't affect anyone's system directly, and there seem to be a lot of resistance to it. So this is where, I mean, There's always distractors who will put fear in people. And I hope such fear won't come in. Creating such fear won't come in the introduction of the technologies that we've been talking about yesterday and today. So it's all about how do you communicate, how do you promote the new inventions. So that's the thing. And any comments from anybody? Doctor, okay, I have a hand rise from Professor Patil. Sir, go ahead, sir.
No, I do not want to ask anything except that the presentation of that's to the presenter, I mean, Anthony Song.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. The whole thing is being recorded, and I'm sure it will be available for people. Again, I'm totally impressed by the quality of the slides that you all have put in so much time into. So I think each slide deck has a lot of multiple slides behind that, but the way you've summarized it, the way you've reduced it to something that's most important, I think that has required a lot of skills, and you must have spent a fair amount of time. So thank you all so much. And please do share whatever you feel you can share. That is not necessarily confidential. I think that will be of use to many people. So if there are no questions, I'm going to the closing session. Can I go to the closing remarks, MD sir, Dr. Basuraj Girenawar?
Yes, please.
Okay. I've listed a few take-home messages from yesterday and today. And I'm sure there are some that have missed my book and my pen. Hopefully the others have taken notes as well. So the list of about 10 or so take-home messages that were deliberated came from the deliberations since yesterday. With confidence, I would like to say that new technologies are here to stay. Need to strengthen our interaction with farmers and village environment for adoption of these technologies and to get them to see the benefits. For that, we've got to have demo plots. We've got to hold their hands. We need to spend money. The money spent now will be minuscule to the benefits that they will be getting and maybe the money that we will earn back in return. And inclusion of agri-technology education in schools and colleges. I feel that's very, very important if we're going to create an environment where the children and the grandchildren of the current farmers who are aging rapidly want to stay back in the village. Better environment than getting stuck in the smoky Bangalore or Hyderabad or Chennai or someplace. So this is very important. Again, we need to reach out to the ministers, panchayat ministers, education ministers, to see how that can be done to include agri-tech education in schools. And I have a request in this regard to our MD, Dr. Basuraj Girenawar. We need to create some sort of pardon me for the word, sexy videos that get attracted by the students, and maybe do some sort of a roadshow. If someone can actually build a tailor-made bus, like a roadshow bus, like we have for many other sectors, maybe that roadshow bus can travel from one village or one panchayat to another panchayat, or one taluk to another taluk, where people like Natarajan, Anthony Swami, and you and many others, and many experts from other places like Manoj or Jagdish Sunkar and all that can travel in the bus and then actually show it to them. This is what it's about. A beautiful bus will attract farmers and students, and that's one suggestion. Of course, it requires lakhs of rupees for that. We need to make important socioeconomic, invest in important socioeconomic infrastructure in villages to make sure that people in the villages actually stay back. If they don't have good schools, good health facilities, good entertainment facilities, good social interaction facilities outside of their home, it's going to be very difficult to retain people in villages, which are going to get very empty, apart from lazy workers who don't want to do anything, just depend on government subsidies. So this is a serious message for all of us, and I hope we'll be able to take it forward. My next message is collaborate with foreign nations, something that Professor Patil brought out, who have been through challenges and who have invented solutions. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. We must collaborate with foreign nations, conduct joint exercises like the way they do in Army, Navy, and Air Force, or IPL or whatever. We must do that, and government should be happy to. I know that I think Israel collaborated with UHS Bagalkot. I think they were running a program on horticulture. We need to have more and more and more of that. And another suggestion that came from Professor Jayavant Arakeri was that become part of the Bangalore Cluster. We should become and bring in more like-minded people. And then a thought that came from our MD, Dr. Basuraj Girinawar, was that invest in precision farming. And that made a few people to sit up and take note, and they're volunteering their farmland for investment in precision farming. How we do that, that's something to be worked out. And then we need to adopt villages. Go reach out to those people with so much money, they don't know what to do with it. Reach out. I think if they invest in adopting villages, wholesome adoption of the villages, they will probably be remembered in multiple generations to come, as opposed to owning more properties and creating more fun, things like that. This is something that has to happen, and I hope we can reach out to all the rich people and rich companies. And also, I was just thinking that, we have ambulances for taking care of humans and maybe animals. We should have, along with the bus that I was in the same line I'm talking, we got to have some sort of an ambulance service for farmers who are suffering crop damages. I know it's a long-term fixing as opposed to human ailment or whatever it is. Something like that. These are the things that will attract people to feel that, oh, we are not being ignored, we are being attended to. And these are the new things that are coming out to us. So we must stay back and do what we can. So that sort of environment should be created. And my last suggestion that I have in my list is, again, a request to our MD and his team is that please make this highly focused meeting that happened since yesterday a biannual one, if not a quarterly one. You know what? I prefer these meetings than big meetings where people boast about 4,000 people, 5,000 people, these many vendors, all of that. To me, that's a big mela. A lot of the time, a lot of rush happens, and finally, when you come home, you don't know what you've learned. But I'm telling you, since yesterday and today, there's so much focus on agriculture and new technologies. I think people will remember this meeting, thanks to the vision of MD and his team, for conceptualizing this and then putting a team together for making this happen. I know we've had some deficiencies. This is the first time, I think, at least in my association with this set of companies, that they are doing something like this. And but I think we've done a good job. I want to thank all the speakers. I will take time to announce the names because they have put in a lot of heart and soul. Starting off with my friend and a good mentor, Dr. Ramanathan Vairamani. He filled in at the last time. You'll agree that he did a fantastic job, and he's someone that we should keep in touch with. And then the inauguration was done by Professor S.A. Patil. Thank you, sir, for being there. You sat through this meeting yesterday and all day today. That shows your interest in learning about your technologies, because you're one of the champions on the ground where you can start conversing, communicating with your people who believe in you in your village areas. So thank you, sir, and your blessings that you've made for smooth running of this conference. I think that has really seen us through. And I would like to thank Professor Jayavant Arakeri, our first session speaker, an IAS engineer and a professor. And I think he also hit the nail on the head, saying that we must converge somehow. We must become part of a cluster where people with other expertise come together and not work in silos. And that was again accentuated today as well. And then we had Sri Harsha Venkatesh talking about digital green agriculture. I think the first village that's going to get declared as the digital village is going to make a lot of noise. So let's compete, let's compete for that first village, whoever wanted to be. Maybe all the people who presented yesterday and today can come together and help CreaGen and AgriApp technologies to really adopt a village and declare by the Prime Minister saying that this is the first digital village, wholesome digital village, something like that. Okay, I know I'm getting carried away here, so please bear with me. And Jagdish Sunkar, I thought he really hit very, very soft points that keep coming to my mind throughout my life. And I think that enabled a lot of discussion, so much so that I stopped my car along the way from Kolar a couple of times and I had to get into a conversation. So thank God there was no technical difficulties and I could make a few points. And Venki Ramachandran, I think is a very good conversationalist. And I think we should, he has come up with a lot of very interesting things like Studio Era. Again, that is something that will add attraction to the students, you know, making, I know what he means by Studio Era, but I think we should actually start making movies of agriculture. You know, lately, sometimes they show of promoting this IPL and the World Cup, they show a young Shikhar Dhawan or a young Virat Kohli sitting in the stadium, visualizing what he wants to be. Likewise, I'm sure there are young kids in the school. Make a movie of that through the studio and see how the kid can grow up to become a good farmer or a good leader like Professor Swaminathan or Dr. Norman Borlaug and people like that. I think there are other technologies that we can use to attract people. And we had Mr. Shailendra Mrityunjayappa. You know, he was very good as well, talking about fintech, and again, something that I need to spend more time to understand. So that's beautiful. It's all coming together now. And we had announcement of hackathons. And then today we started with Dr. Basuraj Girenavar's talk on under the topic of new agri perspective. We talked about digital agriculture. Again, touched upon some of the points made yesterday, and then how to sustain this new paradigm of digital agriculture. That was very good. Followed by, we had Mr. Manoj Sinha from Ortu Solis. He's thinking about it all the time. Give me the challenges, give me the problems. I will see, I will challenge myself. I'll challenge my company founding partner, Shachi Elandur, who is also very, very keen. She's in UK right now. She's going to come back and she can be involved in this as well. Then we will try to find solutions, like the way they would have found solutions working in Ben's company. Okay, and then we had Professor S.A. Patil. He was very precise in what needs to be done and what difference we can make. Of course, he also, is aware of the challenges that we have every time we want to make policy changes and implementation of the policy changes. I mean, he actually wrote a plan, I think the 12th plan or something like that. Unfortunately, I'm sure many of his ideas were not implemented, and that's really a pity, unfortunately. And we had Nataraja speaking despite the difficulties, and he discussed various aspects of marketplace, because I know there were some questions yesterday from a few younger people saying that direct farmers directly selling to the consumers and all of that. I think that's a good thing to have, but unfortunately, when you talk about mass scaling up, it's going to be difficult. And I think marketplace is very important. How do we create a beneficial, an honest marketplace so that that's useful for both farmers on one side and consumers on the side? That's a challenge. And I think Mr. Nataraja, he did speak a lot on that. And then finally, Anthony Swami communicated very well with regard to the digital revolution. You know, that's going to be the next driver. Agri-tech is going to be the next driver. And then that's going to really make India a very proud nation to be in. So with this, I want to thank all the speakers. And then I want to thank our team of organizers, led by the very young Krishna Bajpayee, later joined by Shobha Rao, Sridhar Girenavar, many other youngsters, working under the direction of Dr. Basuraj Girenavar, Mr. Nataraj, Dr. Amita Ganapati, and so on and so on. And I'm telling you, these young people, the way they can absorb the young technologies is something beyond me. I don't think I'll be able to absorb that. Christian really did a great job. I know he's been working on it. What I also like is the belief that our MD has in these young people, the confidence that he has. And I kept asking him, our MD, certain questions, but he said he knew that this is going to come out, because he had the belief. He saw some hurdles, but he knew that people will cross those hurdles. So I think Krishna and Shobha and Sridhar and many others, Santosh and many others have crossed those hurdles. And today we are ending a two-day meeting, which I think was a good success. And of course, we invite feedback from all the speakers, the moderator himself, Dr. Ramanathan Vairamani, and also every participant. Any feedback will be taken very seriously. And I'm sure there's a lot for improvement. I myself have a feedback. And then in fact, I suggested to our MD this morning, we should have very soon, before we forget all this, we should have a post-mortem session early next week. We will give them a break. All the young people will give them a break for this evening and tomorrow, And then maybe Monday, Tuesday, we should get together a postmortem session to list out what went well, and more importantly, what could have been better. So that way, I think our next meeting of this kind will be even better, where we can invite bigger people. And talking about the crowd, I'm not worried about big crowds. You know, this is not like a wedding ceremony where we can go declare, oh, in my daughter's wedding, I had 5,000 people, you know, attending and all of that. I don't think that's the sort of thing we should say. I would rather have 100 people, 50 people keenly focused on this topic, this technology, how we can come together and how move forward. To me, that's more meaningful. And I know Dr. Basaraj Girenwar is familiar with certain meetings that happen in America, very focused meetings in Gordon conferences, in Cold Spring Harbor meetings, and Keystone meetings. They are the best meetings, so much so that many top people do not go to all these other bigger meetings, which is only bigger on mass. But in terms of learning something from each other, those are the meetings that they go to. And that's a special privileged meeting. You have to be invited to go to a meeting like that. So my suggestions to this organizing team, led by Dr. Basaraj Girenwar, is to let's move towards such meetings. Of course, we will be very open. Doesn't have to be closed meetings, but let it be highly focused. And hopefully we'll start planning for the next meeting, hopefully in about 6 months' time. With that, I thank you all for the opportunity given to me. And I think it's been a great time for me as well, learning about digital technologies. And I hope I will be able to pull some of you people to my village and to my taluk and see how you can make a difference to a place where I originated from. With that, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's fantastic. I take this opportunity to thank all of the participants, speakers, moderators, and audiences who have joined this 2 days debate, discussion, collaborations, and all the potential developers out there coming from different dimensions, background. I look forward to evolve agri-tech case for Indian farmers, smallholder farmers. You know, farming is key, and it's going to be more important as we are at the crossroad in terms of many things: sustainability, economic viability, which we discussed over a period of 2 days. And I think we should continue the debate and continue the effort in right direction. And we'll keep continuing collaboration and cooperation in this direction. I take opportunity again to thank all the speakers and especially the Krese Patil and experts out there taking time out and contributing to the ADC'21. Thank you very much, and you have a wonderful time out there, and I'll stay connected for AgriTech. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Good, grand success.
Hey, Christian, you want to have the last word?
I would request, yes, Christian to give a couple of points or comments. Christian, go ahead, please.
So this was absolutely amazing, as you told, sir, Jagdish sir told, that he gives a lot of belief on youngsters. And I would say youngsters are the generation which are upcoming, which actually needs some direction, which actually needs some belief what sir is giving us. So yeah, that is there. And other than that, yeah, this whole conversation was meant for us. So I can say that I actually learned a lot, and I believe that other youngsters out there who are seeing right now would have learned a lot from this conference. So yeah, sir, thank you for actually making a part of this big event. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Krishna. Thank you very much.
You know what that means, Krishna? Start getting prepared for the next one, okay?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
but take a break tomorrow. You're allowed to take 1 day's break.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Tomorrow is Sunday.
Dr. Basu Murthy here from FAI.
Sir, Moti sir, thank you. Thank you for joining, please.
Yeah. Really,
thoughts,
really
I would like to take 10 seconds to introduce Ms. Murthy sir here. He represents Fertilizer Association of India, heading southern region, comprising Karnataka, Andhra, Telangana, Tamil Nadu, Kerala. Murthy sir, thank you for joining, and over to you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. Really, it is a fascinating experience to listen to so many wonderful speakers, I can say, with excellent knowledge and the backdrop you have created. It is really fantastic, sir, I can say. Really, some of our members really missed this event because of their own preoccupied, works they had. Otherwise, they would have joined in large numbers, because this is really, they missed, I can say, the AgriTech conference. They missed because of the short notice also given to them. That was one of the reasons. Sir, definitely, if you can inform us well in advance, we will join in good numbers from fertilizer industry, and definitely we will be taking this, wonderful, opportunity to get the knowledge, from so many excellent speakers, I can say, so many learned people. I was listening right from yesterday to all the presentations being made. My request is, sir, if you can share these, proceedings, I can distribute or pass it on to all our member companies running into thousands actually, so that they can approach the concerned speakers, or through you, they can also connect and then take forward the AgriTech, initiative, what you have taken. It's really a wonderful experience, sir, I can say, and we can take it forward from the FAI side also, and we can connect with everybody, those who are working in this line. Surely, sir, please, I would request you to kindly connect all the speakers to FAI through you. It will be beneficial to everyone, sir. And those who have missed this event, at least through, proceedings, what you will be circulating, they will be enlightened and they would like to come forward with many options that are available, sir. Thank you.
Sure, sir. Thank you, Murthy, sir. Thank you for, being here with the team for 2
Yes,
days.
sir.
I'll definitely share the YouTube link,
Yes,
and
sir.
also the PPTs and the agenda, which we already shared with the speaker details. And
Thank
I
you so
love
much.
to do one with 5, because fertilizer 60 million metric tons and big
Yes, sir.
stories. Maybe we'll take sir offline. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Wonderful, wonderful AgriTech, sir, I can say.
Thank you.
It's excellent, sir. Your initiative is great. Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Wonderful. I think coming to if any 1 or 2 experts would like to comment 1 or 2 minutes, we can hold on. Otherwise, I think Patil sir, would you like to have a closing comment, sir?
The only thing is we have to start experimenting.
Yes, sir. Great, sir. We will look forward to experimenting as early as possible. Any other experts? Dr. Jagdish, would you like to call upon any 1 or 2 names? I think we are running out for 13 minutes, running out of the time. I mean, exceeding the time of 5 o'clock, but we are okay.
It's open. It's open. No, I don't. I mean, we could start with each one, but that would take a long time. If someone,
that's too much.
But if someone, Manoj, you want to say something, Mr. Manoj Sinha? Just a couple.
No, thank you. I think whatever I've said in my presentation, somehow I wanted to really press as much as I can.
Yeah.
but I think it was a great event, and I would still prefer having it 4 times a year, and
4 times a
and also bring in also some of this representation from actual farmers also.
Yes.
Yeah, those are the guys who will bring the problems to the table.
Excellent point. We'll do that. Okay. I think we should end up, Dr. Suraj Girinawar. I think the team has. I see Mr. Pinchala here. Sir, you want to say something?
Yes, sir. Definitely, sir.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Waiting to hear your voice, Pinchala. Please say something.
I was eagerly waiting, sir. Jagdish, sir, I think you maybe mentoring this event, I think very nicely. And yesterday also the many eminents, they spoke very lot. And maybe it is a learning for the marketing department, definitely. And also AgriTech, what I feel personally, because my 35 years of experience, there is no much the improvement happened in terms of technology.
Okay.
But everybody in silos, we are speaking in silos, it has to make a policy towards the technology and bring all the experts in on one platform. They speak about, they have to make a policy how to reach the farming community. What I understand is most of the agri-input companies, there are many giants in agri-inputs company, maybe like IFCO, RCF, maybe other companies like Juari, private sectors, and the Coromandel itself. They are not talking about the agri-tech in their own platforms. I have seen 30 years of my experience. Because the agri-tech developers now, they are initiating, but how to just make a big platform out of it, and also all maybe the government itself bring the platform, bring on the right platform. They also maybe serious, maybe the way the green revolution happened in 1960s, that kind of emphasis and maybe drive is required to establish the agri-tech in the agriculture sector. Because farmer, you know that we know that we have to understand the farmer behavior first of all, and how to just elevate them, maybe evaluate them from the point of academic background to be definitely we have to improve their academic background. Unless until we bring their economy in a maybe viable level, I think we will not be any technology adaptability is a question mark there. That's what I believe, sir. Maybe I think because this kind of technology platforms definitely bring because eminence are there. Because all of us we have to work. Maybe SA Patels are like, maybe they'll be talking very closely with the government, and they have to initiate that how they can bring the big platform. Everybody involves. Everybody has to take very serious step towards this technology intervention in the agriculture sector. That's my appeal to all of you. And maybe we are in the Kriyajan is in the right direction under the leadership of Mr. Dr. Basuraj Kiranwar. And we are initiated. Maybe the way the BOPIS initiation is there. LBs we have taken LBs into the this thing, our this thing, proposition, giving the services, technology intervention, all this kind of things are happening. But how many of the, because our reach is very limited.
All right.
All the big agri-input companies, their reach is very wide.
All right.
They are in touch because every bag, every fertilizer, chemical fertilizer is going to reach into the farming community. If they are thinking very seriously, they are reaching with this agri-tech to their farmers, their farming community. We are all integrating and collaborating is very, very important, sir. That's what I feel personally. I think
thank you.
This
thank you
going
so much.
forward, this will also happen, I feel, definitely.
Thank you. Thank you. So let's I'm going to log off because the storm here is under storm with rains here. So thank you all very much and have a great evening and reach home safely, please. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Jagdish.
Hello.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.